Hey guys, so I've got another tutorial today, and this is what somebody suggested to me, and it was about making a third person and first person sort of camera switch, almost something that you'd find in like Dayz and stuff like that, where you can run around in a first person mode to aim or shoot or whatever, and then switch to third person to run around and look behind and do all that sort of good stuff. Now this is going to be really basic, and we're just going to use a first person controller for that, so it's going to be simple but just show you the basics of doing it. So you've got a first person controller and it'll have a main camera on it, and the main camera will just be, as it suggests, the first person controller will, you could see some arms or whatever you're going to see there. Now what I've done is I've gone to game object, create other, and then I've gone and created in a camera, and I've created a camera and called it TP_camera for third person camera, and I've just positioned it, as you can see in the preview, slightly behind my actual character object. And then what we'll do is we'll parent it to the first person controller, so it will always follow you around. So when we switch between them, you can switch between whatever you want and it'll always follow you about. So we'll create a new JavaScript and call this view switch or camera switch or whatever you're going to have, and then we'll open up one and develop. Once that's open, we'll delete the two scripts here, and then we'll say variable FPS camera as type camera, and then we'll have another variable called third person camera as type camera, and then what we'll do is have a private variable called cam switch as type boolean equal to false. Then I'll write a start function, and then we'll add two curly brackets and say that FPS camera dot enabled equals true. So we'll have the first person controller camera visible if not already, and then we'll add another line called TP camera dot enabled equals false, so we make sure that's disabled. Then we're going to add an update function and add two curly brackets, and from there we'll say if input dot get key down, open brackets in quotes, whatever letter you want to use on your keyboard, so I'll write C for camera, add two brackets on there, two curly brackets below, and then say cam switch is equal to cam switch, but we need to put a exclamation mark before that, so it just does opposite of what our boolean set up as. Then we'll say if cam switch is equal to true, we'll add two curly brackets, and then say that we'll just take these two lines up here, copy and paste them in. Just make sure I organise them properly, and then we'll say the FPS camera is false and the other camera is true. And then what I'll do is I'll write under here else, add two curly brackets under there, tab that out, and I'll copy these two lines again, add those in, and just make sure that's organised there. And what we'll do is we'll change that to true and this to false. So we'll save that out. So what we're doing is we're setting the camera, the first person camera, to true as soon as it starts. If we press C, we switch cam switch from false to true, and if it equals true, we'll swap to the third person camera. Then if we press it again, we'll obviously be switching what cam switch is equal to true back to false. So if we do anything else than true, we'll switch the camera back. One thing I mentioned, I forgot to put a semicolon at the end of there. And if we save that out and go back into Unity, and we go on our first person controller and add the script that we want, the view switch, and then we'll add the two cameras. So the main camera is going to be first person camera, and then the TP camera is going to be obviously the one that we set for the variable. Now if we play the game, you'll notice that we start off in first person. If I press C, you'll notice that the camera switches, and we can move about as if we were a third person. And if I press it again, go back to first, and then swap between, depending what you want to do. So this simply just uses two cameras and lets you switch between them to create that sort of visual style. As ever, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Cheers.